Greetings, partners, lovers, friends, and strangers. It's time once again to take another deep dive into the wonderful world of sports with me, the Nate DOG. Hoping that you all are having a very pleasant and prosperous day today. So, we're going to sit up and talk about a lot of things, especially in the coaching world, because a lot of stuff happened. I had a full show prepared for you, and this, and I ain't writing another script, so we gonna wing it. So, I got a few things I'm going to say, hoping you'll be nice enough to stay. You definitely deserve a break today, and we're going to do things my way. Why? Because it's my channel. So let's get at it. Well, um, when I was growing up as a little boy, I used to read the Detroit News. And when I read the Detroit News, I read one of my favorite columnists of all time, God rest his soul, but he's the late, great Jerry Green. He was the preeminent sports writer for the Detroit News. And he covered the football beat, the NFL. He covered every single Super Bowl until he passed away. So he was the last of the great ones. He was the last of the Mohicans, so to speak. But when the day after the regular season ended, he said that is the day that coaches who did not pack the gear to win games, they got the Ziggy. And that's what he called coaches getting fired, coaches getting Ziggies. So in honor of Mr. Green, we're going to hand out the Ziggy Awards. So now we know that some people before broadcast, two Ziggies were already handed out. That was Josh McDaniels, and Brandon Staley. McDaniels with the Raiders and Staley with the Chargers. So, and of course, their interims will probably get the boot, even though I'll talk about the Raiders uh, interim in a minute. But the other ones that got the Ziggy were Arthur Smith in Atlanta, Ron Rivera in Washington, Mike Vrabel in Tennessee. We also had some executives go. Scott Fitterer, the GM for the Panthers, he was let go after hiring four coaches in 2 years, going all in on his draft last year to get Bryce Young, only to finish 2-15 this year, which then caused him to finish last and he would get the number one pick. No. Because in order to get Bryce Young, he worked a deal with the Bears. And now the Bears have the number one pick. I don't know where the Panthers are picking, but I know what they are going to do. They're going to pick a new GM. Lord have mercy. In New York, while Robert Salah is safe with the Jets and Brian Dable is safe with the Giants, I'm wondering about that one. Wink Martindale basically told Brian Debo to take this job and shove it and cussed him out on the way out the door because Brian Debo decided that, hey, new broom sweeps clean and we're going to clean up your defense. So we're going to fire all your assistant coaches, but we're going to keep you, Wink. And Wink said, yeah, whatever. So they're all gone. The Jaguars are mad because Trevor Lawrence didn't take him to the promised land. So nothing says making Trevor Lawrence and the offense responsible more than firing the DC, Mike Caldwell, and all his assistants. Welcome to the National Football League. The seat is also lukewarm for Mike McCarthy of the Cowboys. Cowboys, memo to you. You got not one, but two home games at least because you are the number 2 seed in the NFC. If you guys can't win 2 home games with your stellar home record, because you guys are so Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, at home, you look like world champions. And on the road, you look like world champions. Y'all got to get some consistency. But the good news for you is you got at least 2 home games to get it right and make it tight. If not, Mike McCarthy, there are a lot of coaches and now being made available. And Jerry is not buying any green bananas. You better get it right or you got to get it gone. And as you will find out further on in this program, nobody, not even your pedigree, is saving you from Ziggy. Okay? With all these jobs being open, you would say, hey, maybe Eric Bieniemy can finally get that head coaching job. Or maybe some other minority candidates can get a coaching job. I know DeMarco Rhymes, I mean, he got a job and he's probably going to be coach of the year. He's one of the three brothers in the league that got gigs. The other one is Todd Bowles, D'Amico Rhymes, I'm sorry, my apologize, and Mike Tomlin. So those are the three that got jobs. So maybe, and those three seem to be doing pretty well. And Mike Tomlin, I want you guys to know 17 years, never had a losing season. Never. But of course, you guys are going to be judging him on, well, he doesn't have multiple Super Bowls like Belichick. More on him later. But I'm just saying, let's take a look at some brothers. Be kind of nice. After all, Brian Flores and Steve Wilkes are suing the NFL for the lack of diversity. By the way, they are, employed as NFL assistants. It's time for y'all to start looking at some other people for head coaching jobs. I do not want to see Josh McDaniels with another head coaching job. This is a man who, as a head coach, he's only had one winning season. That was 8-8. I don't need to see that no more. If he gets another job, then Wilkes and Flores have a feather in their cap in suing the NFL. This man does not need a job. He's tried, tested, and proven bad. Don't give him another gig. Okay? So that takes care of that. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, as we talked about minority coaches, you're going to notice that there's a picture up there in the Ziggy fame, and that's Bill Belichick. And he got joined by Pete Carroll. So, as you all know, since you all are sports fans, both of these guys are 72 and 71 years old, respectively. But Pete Carroll and the hoodie are out. And both of them are saying it was mutual. You really believe that? Nah. In the hoodie's case, it was basically the fact that as a coach, you are probably one of the greatest. No, it's no probable. You are the greatest NFL coach of this era, of this generation, probably historical. Nobody has more Super Bowls than you. But as a player personnel director, man, you a great cook, but man, you suck in getting the groceries. Your quarterback situation is a shade over horrific. And at the end of the day, you sit up and say, hey, a guy with that many Super Bowls would probably be able to determine when he's going to leave. But Robert Kraft, who's also up there in his 80s, he ain't buying green bananas either. These guys want production. And at the end of the day, if you are not giving them the results, Jerry Glanville once said the NFL meant not for long. But the hoodie had a good ride over 25 years. Happy trails, hoodie. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Pete Carroll, another Super Bowl winning coach, he was told, unknown circumstances, that we want to go in a new direction. But we're going to give you a good little blanket, Pete. We're going to keep you around as an advisor. These teams are gearing up because they want to get younger. They want younger, innovative minds. They got these RPOs, they got these speed players, they got these wild defensive schemes. Yesterday's keys ain't opening today's locks, folks. And they are showing these 70-year-old coaches that, it's no longer your way, but it's going to be the highway. Happy trails, y'all. And then this happens. Bill Belichick, like I said, is probably the greatest NFL coach, but that man on the right, Nick Saban, he is arguably the greatest college coach that ever lived. Now, I wasn't around. I didn't see Amos Alongo's stag, so don't sit up here and clown me because I got this gray beard. I'm old, but I ain't that old. But I do remember Bear Bryant. And I thought Bear Bryant was the absolute guy. Well, I'm here to tell you, this man took Bear, moved him to the side. They're going to name stadiums and fields after Nick Saban. St. Nick has done it, and he has the pedigree and the resume. But St. Nick did it his way. He sat up, he looked in the mirror, he surveyed the land. A lot of you guys like to speculate between recruiting, name, image, and likeness, and all this other stuff. But he sat up and he said, "Look, I'm 72 years old. And you know what? I kind of want to stop and smell the flowers. I want to go out my way. Because I'm here to tell you, winning championships don't necessarily guarantee you a gig. And those folks in Alabama, he has spoiled them absolutely rotten." So my man said, he did the Frank Sinatra. "I'm doing it my way." Happy trails, gentlemen. Accountability time. Well, if you remember, way back when, I think it was my first thought drop, I gave you guys my picks. And as you see, in the NFC, I did pretty doggone good. AFC, not so much. But, I did pick Dallas to win the division. I'm happy about that. I picked San Francisco to win the division. I'm happy about that. I didn't think that they would get the number of wins. I was spot on with Dallas's win number. I didn't think San Francisco was going to be all that in a bag of chips. I sure didn't think they would be number one seed. Detroit, I think that was a foregone conclusion. It was Detroit's division to lose, let's be honest. But I like the way Green Bay came on. I mean, Jordan Love, they got something with this guy, and they're going to build around him, and they're going to give Detroit a threat. So Detroit can't sit on their laurels. Okay. The South, well, somebody had to win the South. May as well have been Tampa Bay. But that South is putrid. That's all I got to say about that. Wild cards, um, Minnesota didn't make it, but Philadelphia did, Green Bay did, and the Rams did. And this weekend, we're going to have the Matthew Stafford Jared Goff Bowl, as those two quarterbacks are going to face each other in a meaningless game in beautiful downtown Detroit at Ford Field. And I'm here for all that. So I'll give you guys some coverage after that game ends. I'll try to be punctual, I promise. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the AFC for a hot second. I lost the Jets the moment Aaron Rodgers lost his health. So I knew that was gone. And then I lost Cincinnati as soon as Joe Burrow lost his health. This goes to show you how important the quarterback position is and how important the health of a quarterback is. So the next time that you guys want to sit up here and moan and cry and kvetch and complain about somebody blowing on a quarterback and they get a 15-yard penalty, this is why. This is why. And the irony of this, especially with Aaron Rodgers, he really didn't get, well, I don't know if he was sacked, or I think one of them didn't even get touched, and it happens. And that's really freaky when the turf monster comes and causes you to rip an ACL. But that's what happens. In the South, Tennessee let me down, but and they let Mike Vrabel down too. That's why he's now out of a job. The wild cards, San Diego, again, it should have been there. That's why Staley's out of a job. Maybe they might get Jim Harbaugh. Baltimore, I thought they were going to be the wild cards. I didn't know that they were going to be the best team in the National Football League. Miami won the East, but I'm telling you, I am not feeling the Miami Dolphins. I'm not. These guys find a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. They they they're beating teams they're supposed to beat. And then when they face teams that are supposed to be as good as they are, they blink. How you gonna drop How you gonna drop all them points on Denver and then turn around and get those type of points get dropped on you twice? Well, because they didn't knock Buffalo out, and I didn't even pick Buffalo, but Buffalo, not only did they get in, they went, think about Buffalo. They were in a position where they went from playing to their play for their playoff lives to being the number 2 seed in the AFC. You can't make this stuff up. But congratulations to Bills Mafia. Right on with you guys. All right. Who else? I guess we talked about everybody. So that's my accountability. Now I'm gonna add something here. I hadn't meant to talk about it, but I'm going to say it really quickly. Um, Stephen A. Smith has a show on YouTube. It's called the Stephen A. Smith Show. He has a channel. Please feel free to go to that channel, like, subscribe. His is a lot more professional than mine. But then again, he's a millionaire. Okay, I'm putting together, pop bottles to put this together. But he and Jason Whitlock have had some beef. And Whitlock says things, and I'm going to be honest with you. I am not a fan of Jason Whitlock, not one bit. I am not crazy about him. I don't like his stances. I don't like his positions. I don't like his presentation. I'm not a fan. Stephen A. Smith, I respect Stephen A. Smith. Now, there's some things that I'm not crazy about what Stephen A. Smith does. Sometimes he gets a little over the top. But then again, so do I. And he gets a little obnoxious. But so do I. But Stephen A. Smith is a brand. And he has cultivated and worked hard and built that brand. And now he is probably one of the most successful broadcasters, regardless of race, creed, or color. He is the face of ESPN, whether people like it or not. When you think of Stephen A. Smith, you think of First Take. First Take is the number one show that network has. And they put Stephen A. Smith in every key place they need numbers. Stephen A. is there, and Stephen A. delivers. Matter of fact, Cowboy fans who can't stand him, you know what? Y'all can't wait to watch First Take, to watch that man cry when the Cowboys win. And at the same time, the Cowboy haters, when the Cowboys lose, y'all be just waiting for that. How you doing? I love it. I mean, I'm not a Cowboy hater, but I'm not a lover either. But I dig what Stephen A's doing. I'm all into that. I don't like to talk about another person's business because you handle what you handle. I don't tell grown people what to do. But I will say this. Jason Whitlock has said a lot of unflattering things about Stephen A. And a lot of it might be embellishment, a lot of it might be true. But uh, Jason Whitlock basically decided that he's going to create smoke. And Stephen A. Smith acknowledged by that video that Jason Whitlock had a condo in his brain and he had to evict him. So, in a rant that's not suitable for work, because the language is extremely salty. I mean, it was bad. Okay. He ripped Jason Whitlock up and down and inside out. As a black man, I could sit up here and say it's sad that two black men have to sit up here and they got to go head up and their beef has to be public. But I'm not going to do that. I could say that it was beneath Stephen A. Smith for addressing Jason Whitlock because Stephen A's up here and Whitlock's like barely on the surface. He's about 3 levels above me. Okay. But Stephen A. Smith did this. This is what I think. When he went and he did his little rant, it wasn't for us per se. He just wanted the world to hear the world according to Stephen A. in regard to this man. Stephen A. has a book out called Straight Shooter, which I'm going to pick up and I'm going to read. Now it's in paperback. He didn't pay me for the plug. I'm just saying this out there. But Stephen A. wanted to go out in public and let people know that, hey, the stuff he's saying about me is not really true. But if you read my book, you know that I wrote it. And what he's saying, he's full of it. And then after that, he spent 40 minutes of a public dressing down of Jason Whitlock. And he was talking directly to Jason Whitlock. And the reason why I said that he was talking directly to Jason Whitlock instead of the audience is because he was telling him the reason why you can't get or keep plum jobs because you were at ESPN and he's not there anymore. He was at Fox and he's not there anymore. He was at the Undefeated and they defeated him. He basically rolled out a list of journalists who refused to work with Jason Whitlock. They will not work with him. And then we've seen some videos where he was debating, I guess, Warren Sapp, and Warren Sapp wanted to put him in chokehold. He rubs people the wrong way. And Stephen A. was basically telling Whitlock, hey, this is the only time I'm going to address you. But in a way, Jason Whitlock kind of won because the fact that Stephen A. Smith took 40 minutes of his hour-long program and addressed Jason Whitlock. He gave him air. He gave him oxygen. But then again, sometimes you got to set the record straight. Would I have done it that way? Probably not. But people, I can't tell people how to handle things, and I can't tell people how to cleanse. But I can say this. At the end of the day, when they see Jason Whitlock in the bank, they'll service Mr. Whitlock. But when they see Stephen A. walk through the door, the president is grabbing Stephen A. and he's dragging him to the back office and he's giving him coffee au latte and he's rolling out the red carpet for him. When you got that type of panache and that type of clout, you don't have to worry about addressing people like Jason Whitlock. And I hope and pray that Stephen A. keeps his promise and says that's a one time and done. Because the thing about some trolls, and trust me, I know, I've been dealing with trolls all week on Facebook, all week on this channel in regard to Michigan's victory. At the end of the day, trolls don't stop trolling. So sometimes you got to let the troll have the last word. Because while the troll has the last word, you got what matters. I'll give a troll last word because my team won the championship. So you can call me anything you want. You just got to make sure that you put national champion behind it. So that's all I got to say about that. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for subscribing if you subscribed. If you haven't, what you waiting on? Please like, comment, subscribe. Remember with the comments, we going to keep it classy. We ain't doing Stephen A. We going to keep it clean because remember, kids watch this platform. And if you can't say it in front of your mama, don't you say it here. All right? Thought drops come on Wednesdays or Thursdays, but I've been kind of tardy. So, if you want to find out the latest, there's a little bell next to the subscribe button. After you subscribe, hit that bell, and then you'll get a little reminder saying, hey, Nate said something. Then go ahead and check it out. Okay. All right. So until next time, this is me, the DOG, wishing you love, peace, hair grease. That's it. I'm out.